Hello and welcome back to REV Endurance Sports, and I believe this is episode 7, not sure. But what I wish to talk to you about today is that in the last 2 days I've had conversations with two folks, and they're talking about not getting dropped. And I said, this makes good content, so let me talk about that here. This is a series where I talk about the benefits of using a power meter and how to use the power meter. And so this is one of the most vital things that you can use a power meter for. Unfortunately, there is this myth that power meters are only for bike racers, only for the pros. I'm 50-something years old. Why do I need a power meter? I have been using a heart rate monitor forever. I don't need a power meter. There's all these kinds of things. So if that's you, please stick around because you could still benefit from having a power meter. So to crystallize the two conversations I had with these two individuals, a male and a female, by the way. So everyone has these concerns. It's not just the male ego. But the question pretty much goes like this. How do I keep myself from getting dropped on a group ride? And the other kind of question was, how do I perform? And I'm going to paraphrase, how do I perform on my last climbs of the event / race / Grand Fondo / training ride / group ride that I'm on? So that is where the power meter really comes into play. All right. Here's the thing. There is a thing called cardiac drift, and that is when your heart rate and your power separate. Heart rate and power separate. In other words, your heart rate may be higher at a certain power level. And so heart rate is not all that. It's good. It's a good metric. But generally for zone 2 and below, zone 3 and above, hard group rides, racing a Grand Fondo, things like that, a power meter is better for those things, and it's better for pacing at these things. So this was, with a little bit more Q&A, this was the advice that I gave both of these folks. Use your power meter to pace up these climbs. So let's just give an example of someone who can ride at 200 watts on a climb, right? And I also like to use it as a 3 watts per kilogram example. So a 150-pound rider, 3 watts per kilogram, it's about 210. Let's just call it 200 for easy math. I like to use watts per kilogram because everyone that's watching this video, they're all going to weigh differently. But 3 watts per kilogram, oh yeah, I know what that means for me. I weigh 100 kilograms, so that's 300 watts for me, right? So that's why we talk in watts per kilogram. So if you know that you can do 3 watts per kilogram on a 10-minute hill, then okay, I know that. I've seen that before. I've done that before. I can do 3 watts per kilogram on a 10-minute hill. I'm just using 10 minutes for now, because there are people in all parts of the world. You may have a 2-hour climb, you may have a 5-minute climb, or no climb at all. So if you know that that is your numbers, when the group starts going harder than that, you have a decision to make. All right? At 10 minutes, I can hold 3 watts per kilogram comfortably. Just an example of a hypothetical person out there. So right now, we're doing more than 3 watts per kilogram. I can hold 3 watts per kilogram for 10 minutes, but this is a 20-minute hill, and we're going above 3 watts per kilogram. Decision. Do I sit on these wheels because I feel pretty good today? Or should I just ride to my numbers, let them go up the road? Because one of the other questions I asked was, well, is this a regrouping ride? Or is this a ride that it's a drop ride? So as soon as you get dropped, you're just hoping that another group of riders comes up behind you and then you can join in with them. If it's a regrouping ride, ride to your numbers. Ride to your numbers. So if you know that you can hold 3 watts per kilogram for 10 minutes and it's a 20-minute hill, then you need to back off a little bit. It's a 5-minute hill, well, you know that you can hold more than 3 watts per kilogram for 5 minutes because you're able to do that for 10, right? So that's how the power meter helps you pace yourself up a climb. Or you're on a flat, you're on a certain section of the course that's just really fast. And you know that if you stay inside the wheels and inside a draft, you can stay below 3 watts per kilogram because that section's about 10 minutes and you're like, okay, I can hold that. And as long as I stay covered, I'm okay. I'm not going to go to the front and pull along at 4 watts per kilogram because I'm not going to last more than a few minutes, right? So that's how you use the power meter to pace. The other question was kind of like, well, if there are 4 climbs in the day, how do I keep myself from blowing up on the first 2 climbs and then on climb 3 and 4 towards the latter part of the day, I'm getting dropped or I don't feel as strong anymore? Well, one thing is you got to fuel properly. And that's another conversation where you must be taking on calories during your event so that towards the back end of the event, and especially the last hour, you are fully fueled. You got to be taking in calories, and REV Energy is the best way to do that. It's already in your bottles. You just drink. So pacing yourself. If you know there are 4 climbs and you know that if you go over that 3 watts per kilogram number on the first 2 climbs, then you know you're going to suffer on the last 2 climbs. So take it back a notch. Let folks go up the road. It's okay. Ride to your numbers, ride to your pace. Then on the last 2 climbs, you might reel a lot of these people back in. Not to mention they're going to stop at sag stops. They're going to do this or that. And this is where I've always said, this is where I'm a stronger rider than others because I just continue to ride. I don't pull into aid stations often. If I do, they're super, super quick and I'm back out, right? Control if I'm doing a brevet. All right, so now you're on the 3rd and 4th climb of your 4-climb event. Now, based on how well you've been fueling, you should be able to hold your 3 watts per kilogram. If it's a 10-minute climb, a little bit less. If it's a 20-minute climb or an hour climb, and then you can at that point start to say, you know, I still feel really good. I'm going to push this because guess what? One of the things I say all the time, I have a lot of these Rev says that the last climb is the only climb that matters. All that other stuff is noise earlier part of the day. The last climb is the only one that matters. So you want to be properly fueled. You want to finish your fueling, whether that's a gel, a bar, Haribo's, Swedish Fish, energy, whatever your fuel of choice is, you want to finish that at least 20 minutes before that last climb. So when you hit that last climb, you are fully fueled. All right? So just a recap. How does a power meter help you in pacing? It helps you because over time that you've been riding, you've been able to gauge your perceived effort, your heart rate, and your power output. Those 3 things you've been able to, through many different training rides, you've been able to ascertain what you can hold for X period of time. if you have training analysis software, that makes it really easy because it just lists it all right there. And if you've had a great day and you've done a better 5-minute power than you've ever done before, it'll tell you, right? Or this is your best 10-minute power this year, or your third best this year, or in the last 90 days. That's what Training Peaks does. But also in Strava, you'll have some stuff there. So Strava is a social media app. It's not a training analysis app, but it'll get you by for a little while because it's a free account, right? So the way you use your power meter is you know how much power you can hold for a certain period of time, and you make that judgment call as to whether you're going to stay on the wheels or you're going to back off and let those folks go up the road. A lot of times what I notice is, especially the longer the climb is, people hit the bottom and they hit it really hard, right? And I just stick to my numbers. And during that 20-minute climb, I start reeling all of them in without increasing my power output. I just stick to my numbers, and they start coming backwards. That's the expression. They start coming backwards. They are actually just fading because they went too hard at the bottom. I've got 2 videos that are coming soon. One is me holding a sustained effort up a climb, and another one is a ramp up a climb. Those are 2 videos that are still coming, but I need to get the editing done on those. So if you stick to your numbers, sometimes you reel those people back in. Sometimes they're just stronger than you. And here's another Rev says, there is always someone stronger than you. There is always someone faster than you. So just let them go up the road. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. You can only do what you can do. And everyone gets dropped. I get dropped. Everyone gets dropped. If there's a stronger rider present, and it always depends who shows up, you will get dropped because that rider's stronger than you. And that's just the way it is. That's why cycling is so addictive as well, because you want to continue to improve. But at some point you tap out. That's all your genetic pool your parents gave you, right? That's it. That's all you got. So please think about how to use your power meter from having seen data, uploaded data, and right? Sometimes you can train, like let's say you know that you can hold for 20 minutes, you can hold 3 watts per kilogram. So maybe when you're out doing some intervals by yourself, and that's the other thing about riding with a power meter, or I should say training with one, a lot of times you have to ride alone because you may have a set regimen set by your coach that you need to accomplish for that day. So you may do an effort that is a shorter duration but higher intensity. So instead of 20 minutes at 3 watts per kilo, you may be doing 5-minute intervals at 3.5 watts per kilo or more. Okay, well, I hope that helps. And for some of you who already have a power meter, I hope that helps. And those of you who I have just sold, and I have sold a lot of power meters. I actually have another power meter to get picked up tomorrow, Friday. So another new rider to power. And so I'm creating this playlist because there are so many folks that have finally gotten on board with getting a power meter, and they need to know everything from A to Z, from the very beginning to the very end. Okay, thank you so much for tuning in. Please like and subscribe. By the way, this series of Power Meters for Dummies, honestly, it's probably some of my best content. All that other stuff is not as pertinent to actually riding your bike. So, yeah, please like and subscribe. Share my videos, and we will see you up the road.